As Ondo State 2024 gubernatorial election draw very near, I'm very sure hopes are high and anticipations are also high. The political landscape is bursting with anticipation. However, there are pressing concerns about the challenges facing the electoral process, ranging from security issues to ensuring transparency and voter engagement. Today, we shall be exploring these challenges, offer potential solutions, and discuss how stakeholders can collaborate to ensure credible elections in Ondo. And of course, we are privileged to have an insightful panel to guide us through this important conversation. Now, joining us from Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria, he's no other person than Reverend Dr. Azeme Azena. He's the regional pastor of Omega Fire Ministry. He's the host of the popular TV program Turning Point. He's an entrepreneur and the new Nigerian People's Party NNPP candidate for the Edo 2024 gubernatorial election. And of course, he's joining from Benin City. Thank you so much for joining us, Reverend Doc Azeme.
Thank you very much. Good morning, my viewers all over the world. Thank you very much. Nice meeting you and nice joining you too.
It's a pleasure to have you. We also have with us one of the candidates for the just concluded election. He's a person of Dr. Brighton Abulele, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, a software engineer. He's the founding president of the Odua Blockchain Solutions Limited and the Accord Party candidate for the Edo 2024 gubernatorial election. He's joining virtually from the United States. Thank you so much, Dr. Brighton Abulele, for coming.
Well, thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, the both of them they actually threw their weight in the election that just ended in Edo State. Let's start with Reverend Dr. Azeme Azena. What do you see as the biggest challenges currently facing Ondo State as they head to the polls, and how can these challenges be addressed?
Thank you very much. I would like to say preferably, I would have loved to be addressed as pastor instead of giving me that big title.
Okay.
Thank you. Now to your question, I want to say the biggest massive challenge that will be confronting Ondo election, which actually also occurred in the Edo election, is going to be vote buying, inducement, financial inducement. I think that is going to be the challenge. It's going to be one of the biggest challenges that they are going to face. And the reason is just because the people are hungry. And because they are hungry, they don't have, majority of them don't have the power to decide or to reject the offer that they will be given. Now, let me take a good illustration from Edo State election. Edo State election was actually marred with a lot of financial inducements. Some areas where votes were bought with the sum of 30,000 naira, some 20, some 10. I think the minimum should be which should be around 5,000. So the wish of the people, the desire of the people was actually not what we saw in the ballot papers. It was just what the money could do or what money can do. That is what we saw. And that is the same problem that is going to face Ondo election. And our politician knows what they are doing because they know the people are hungry.
Yeah.
They know they need money. So what they are just doing now is to arrange the money and keep so that very day, if you are not even careful, your family members, some of the candidates who don't have that money to offer, even their family member, even down to their wife, may even leave them that very day and vote for the opposition. So that is going to be the problem. And the only way it can be addressed is only when there is a surplus, where there is enough for the people of the country, not just Ondo State. That is only where we are going to get it right. But so long there is hunger in the land, this problem will continue with our people, with the electorate, knowing that the politician knows what to do, and we keep on getting the wrong people to power because our votes will be bought from us.
Okay, thank you so much, Pastor Azeme. Let's quickly head to Dr. Enabulele. Dr. Enabulele, you were part of the race. As a matter of fact, in Edo State, you actually challenged the outcome. Now, some people actually alleged that there are so many irregularities that marred the Edo gubernatorial election. Let's take it to Ondo now. How prepared are the electoral bodies like INEC to ensure that Ondo 2024 elections are free and fair?
Thank you so much. I think the problem here is our citizens. We have lost trust in our citizens uh, who who are there to make sure that the votes are credible. And when I look at the election, the election, when I look at the registered voters compared to the accredited voters, it was only 10%. The turnout was very low because people don't trust our electoral process no more because they don't believe, we lose that citizen trust that lead to skepticisms of why I even go there and vote if my votes don't matter. So I think they're going to face a lot of voter turnout, because when they hear the news of Edo elections, manipulations and intimidations, I hope so because the news are everywhere. But the key here is we need to make sure that there's a transparent mechanism in place where the people will believe that their vote will be counted, because it goes down to the citizen trust. Now you can no longer leave anything unattended, from bylaws snatching, political violence. Yeah, I call it intimidation, and that intimidation can put a fear on the citizens, which can alter the way they vote, which also lead to what Dr. Azina was saying, vote buying. Because at the end of the day, sometimes people go to that voting polling unit, and when they get there, they look at the atmosphere, and they feel like, okay, one party is more stronger when it comes to political talks. They just yield to it. They say, you know what, this is what everybody's doing. They are paying everyone. Why not just I just do it? So we need a fairness. We need a peaceful environment to have a peaceful results. And that's why we must make sure that we must have adequate electoral infrastructure in place where we are voting. Because when you go to a voting polling unit and it's peaceful, nobody bothers you, then you make your choice wisely. So for me, it's all about trusting our system. I think the challenge they're going to be having in Ondo today is going to be voter turnout, because
Okay.
I'm getting an echo back on the feedback. So
Definitely.
for me, is
Our technicians are trying to work on it right now. We hope to resolve it in a moment. But can you hear us?
I can hear you. There's
Okay.
just a network.
Quickly land on your thoughts so that we can move on, please. Thank you.
So, like I said, we have to. There's a lose of trust in the citizens that are there to monitor our elections. We just need a trustless mechanisms that people can believe in. So I think Ondo might have a less voter turnout because when they compare it to a dual election, they saw a lot of intimidation, political talk. It's just many factors that make people have different judgment on how they vote. But if the environments are peaceful and the environment is peaceful, it allows the citizens to vote wisely. So for me, I think the turnout is going to be low. Because when you look at the dual election, I look at the registered voters and the accredited voters, it's only 10%. You find some areas when you have 800 registered voters and 80 accredited voters. So it just tell you that there's fear in the people. People no longer trust the process. So we must look for a mechanism, a trust mechanism in our electoral process that will now win back the trust of the people so that they can go there and vote wisely. Because it's not the leader, it's how we elect our leaders that matters. If the process are not streamlined correctly, every year we're gonna lose trust in our electoral systems, and we vote people we are not supposed to vote in power, and then we have this problem that we are facing today. So for me, it's not about a dual election; it's all about Nigerian system. Let's find a way to straighten our electoral process. A trustless society that doesn't require human interference, doesn't require immutable transactions where you vote and you make sure your vote are counted. There's no overvoting. That's what we need to put in place. If not, we're just going to be wasting our time. Because when you put the trust in human science, there's going to be corruption. And you already understand that our citizens, we have lost trust in our citizens that are there to protect our votes. So we must.
Okay, if
Conclusion.
you can get us, let's quickly get to Pastor Azena in a moment. We'll return back to you. In the build-up to the Edo election, like some persons actually say, some stakeholders, they say there's no way you talk about the Ondo elections without looking at what happened in Edo State. In the build-up to the Edo election, the executive governor of the state, His Excellency Governor Gordon Obatek, he actually alleged that the commissioner of police wasn't really they weren't in good terms. He actually said that in public, that the commissioner of police wasn't even taking his calls when he tried to reach out to him. Security issue is always a concern. And some persons are saying that the issue of federal might and state might end up playing out in Ondo State. Do you believe in that ideology, Pastor Azena?
Yes, I believe on that. Please, I'm always the lady voice that interrupted the question. There's a lady voice that didn't make me get your complete question. But the aspect that I've gotten, are you with me? Can you hear me?
There seems to be a kind of network glitch here, but our technical team, they are working
Can
on
you hear
it.
me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Now, I believe on the federal mind and what you said about Edo State and the Edo State governor. Let me say this to you. It's in our nature that people abuse power. I'm seeing that it's becoming the nature of the Nigeria person or the Nigeria people that any access we have to power, we abuse it. What occurred in Edo State, all of us are guilty of it. We take you back to the local government election that was done early this year. The same governor that was crying wolf not too long actually used the state executive power to control the last election in the state, the local government election. Now, when it got to the turn of the state election, there was also federal might, whether directly or indirectly through the police or through the security agencies or through the INEC, there was a federal might. Now let's go into those states. First and foremost, the state is an APC state. When you analyze on those states, you will discover that there is already a state mind. That is, the city governor is APC governor. When you look at the House of Rep members, out of 9 of them, if I'm not mistaken, we have 8 as APC members. And you check the Senate, the seat of the Senate, you will also discover that it is APC. Now, going to the federal is also all APC. So with that be told, you should be expecting both state and federal might backing up the incumbent governor to win the forthcoming election. It's not a prophecy. If in Edo State, there were just only federal might, and there was a lot of display and abuse of power, How much more when you are combining both the state and the federal to conduct election for the same party? So without being told, the, the, the people in power will definitely control the institutions such as the electoral institution, the police agencies, the security agencies, sorry, and to make sure they get their way to the power. So I so much believe, because what I've experienced in those states makes me to analyze. It's giving me the analysis I'm giving you now ahead of the Ondo state. So there's going to be federal might combination or combined with state might to make sure that the incumbent governor, who is contesting for the next election coming on the 16th, will be returned. So, but let me say this: there is nothing that lives forever. When you see some of those politicians crying on federal might, it's because it is not their turn. Even when it gets to their turn, they will do similar thing. I want to use this opportunity to throw a word of advice also to whosoever that is in power, whether state or the federal. Just know that you are not going to be there forever. When you also get to when you will be oppressed, please don't cry out, because it's going to be moving from one place or the other. It is better we do the right thing. Whether you are in power, whether you are not in power, let us do the right thing, because you cannot be in power forever. It will turn, the table will turn. In Edo State, we saw it. Everybody cried out in local government election. We were our voices were not heard. But after some months, those who kept us quiet, those who we thought they cannot talk, those who we thought they were they were they were not around, they traveled, they are not the one crying. So you should know that what goes around comes around and stays around. So that
Okay.
is why we should do the right thing. So I see might, federal might, state might, local government might, as of us, all the might will be put together. So that is my
So
observation.
it's going to be a display of might now in Ondo State. Let's get to Dr. Enabulele. Now, political interference and manipulation have often affected state election, just like Pastor Azeme Azena has highlighted. What can we put in place to safeguard this process so that we can have a free and fair election that is devoid of political manipulation? Dr. Enabulele, please.
Thank you so much. That's where we are heading to. Because when we look at all the election, we are thinking about how we combat voter fraud. How do we boost turnout? How do we maintain transparency in the election? How do we even reduce the cost of the election? When you look at the Edo election, so much money was put in. At the end of the day, you still go back and see all this complaining because we are dealing with human interference. So we are looking for a process that doesn't require human interference. We are looking for accuracy, faster counting process, on-chain voting. You vote, your votes are recorded, your votes are backed up in the cloud. There's no human interference because we are living in a society where we can no longer trust our citizens. So we should look for a trust mechanism in our process. That's why I fight for. After the election, I went to the CAC, I registered a blockchain infrastructure because that's my strength. I've done that for Estonia, I've done that for Lithuanian, because at the end of the day, democracy is still new in Nigeria, but what matters is how do we elect our leaders? If the process are not streamlined correctly, we're going to go around and put the wrong person in the right place. And then we cry wolf all the time. And for me, I want to introduce a trustless blockchain voting system into our Beaver, where I love the process of how we accreditations. You go into the line, you look at the sheet, you find your picture there. They take a picture of you. At the end of the day, you still go back from technology, from digital to manual. Okay, you go and that put your paper again in one little box. Somebody can just take and run away. And I say, why do we make 5 steps forward and 10 steps backward? That system should not. I don't understand who put that together. I understand that I challenge the election for one reason, because I want INEC to be better. I want Nigeria to be better. It's not about power struggle for me. History will either remember me today or judge me tomorrow. I want Nigeria to be better. I want a better Ondo. I want a better Ondo. But we must look at the way we elect our leader, because at the end of the day, if the people that are on the ballot, that are not even from the primary election, are not the people's choice, the turnout will be low. It's like you are trying to force democracy on someone, and it turns to anarchy. And for me, all this federal might and state might, if the electoral system are protected, those will not come in play. If you have a voting system that doesn't require human interference, even if you put your grandfather there, you can't change nothing. We are looking for immutable and irrefutable transaction in our voting systems. One man, one vote. At the end of the day, once the voting polling unit opens at 6 p.m., 6 a.m., and end at 7 p.m., you can no longer go there and do anything. Look at our beaver. People they go there, the beavers are open. We have to make sure that the beavers are only accessible on the day of the election. It should be time stamped. And when the election is over, you can no longer put any information on that beaver. So for me, I want to introduce a blockchain voting system into our beaver. It's cost effective, it reduces cost, it's faster, and everyone can vote, and everyone vote will be counted. When you look at this vote, you see a lot of people, most of those votes are avoided because of the process. So I think we should have a trust mechanism in place. I do not trust human interference. I don't believe in human interference
Okay, now,
because to go by our society.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So we must introduce a blockchain voting system. And if the federal government needs help in that, I can come in and do that.
Now, you're actually speaking as a software engineer. I know probably we'll have a better time to have you so we could just extend the front line of this, your thought. And let's just hope the government of the day buy into the idea. But let's still on this technological issue. Let's get to Pastor Azeme now. Pastor Azeme, if you heard what Dr. Nablele said, he's proposing for a blockchain beaver system that will help reduce some of these irregularities that we're talking about in elections. Now, some persons are of the opinion that since the Electoral Act that introduces beavers, they say it has not helped Nigeria in a way from the presidential election in 2023, and of course, some of the governorship election that took place in the states across Nigeria. Do you think beavers is a waste of time as they have alleged?
Zealand, that beaver is supposed to be a rescue mechanism in our electoral process. But they have been abused. Just know that machines don't operate themselves. No matter the machines that you acquire, no matter the technologies, they are manipulated, they are used by humanity. Let's take a quick look at 2023 general election. You will discover that the server was shut down at about 12:01 a.m. at the eve of the election. That tried to upload the result of the presidency from various units, it was not possible. And every other House of Reps, Senate, you could do that. The governorship, you could do that. But the presidency, people were not able to do that. That shows that beavers are not our problem. It is the manipulator, the operators that are our problem. So I would not say that beavers are waste of effort. They are technology that can be advanced on, like what my brother said, Dr. Inabulile, that we take about 5 steps forward and 2 steps backward. We are operating digital and manual all combined together. And the reason why these things are being done that way is so that still the wicked people, still those who have this mind that we can never get it right, so that they can have their way into the process and manipulate it. So to me, it's not a waste of effort, but where we are having problems major problems, not just one, not two, not three, is that we have people who don't want the system to work. Sir, there is a way you can drive a new car and you make it people to believe that the car is bad. And there is a way you can drive a very old car and you make people to believe that it's a very good car. What matters is not even the car. What matters is the people operating the car. So if we must get our electoral process right, I agree with Dr. Enabulele that we must completely digitalize the process, the beaver, and so on and so forth. But another thing we must do, we must work on our INEC officials. We must first and foremost make them fully independent. They are not independent. They just call them Independent Electoral Commission. How can you be independent when you are being funded by executive? How can you be independent when you are being nominated or appointed by, confirmed by executive? How can you be independent when you you're answerable directly to executive? So if our electoral body, the INEC, the umpire, are not fully independent as it were, forget about the machine that we are going to put in place. They are going to still manipulate them. And that is number one. Number two, if we must have the digital process right, our laws must take their course. We must have laws that work. How many INEC officials have been sentenced to jail after all our elections? So when anybody can do anything and go with it, another person will do it again. So what we are seeing in all our states, whether Edo state election, Kogi state election, find out how many people were arrested, how many people were taken to court, how many people will be jailed. You will discover that it's a past, it's something that we cannot tell what will happen. So long that remains, we will not go forward, no matter how much amount we spend for equipment, digitalizing the process and all that, except there is a process you will digitalize that no human being knows where to off the machine. But if it's in Nigeria, where they can off server, and somebody off it, and yet it go through with it, then they'll keep on feeling it like NEPA lights. And that is my observation.
So, Zena, let's get to Dr. Enabulele. Dr. Enabulele, if you're there, campaign financing is a critical issue in Nigeria elections. Now, do you believe there is need for stiffer regulations around political funding? As some people have actually said that we have big wigs or bigger political party who have a way of using their money to induce and influence the decision of voters. And that actually have a huge negative impact in the polls. So do you think there should be a kind of restriction to how much a political party can spend in funding their campaigns in build up to elections?
Thank you so much. I thought there was already a cap on that.
Yes.
I thought there was already a cap on how much they can spend. But let me go back to your questions, because at the end of the day, we are trying to elect a leader that can lead the people, navigate the complexity of the land, and do governance. When you look at our democracy is not from China, it's not from Egypt, it's from the Western world. And when you look at how elections are conducted, most of those elections, before you even want to run, the people must be able to set up a funnel, a donation funnel for you. The citizens that are going to vote. It's the amount of money you raise that determines if you are going to be on the vote or not. If you are favorable or not. It's not about the party. It's about the people that are voting. If you don't have money, if the people are not putting money together for you, that means you are not the candidate of their choice. So if you run out of money, you quit the race and merge with someone they are putting their trust on. But in our Nigeria election, you have to go and hustle. You want to come with the talent. You want to come with the brilliant mind. You want to go and look for fun. How are we going to find a true leader like that? And most of these political parties, because of these godfatherisms, they already know who they're going to be there, who's going to be their choice in the next 2024, 2028 election. Oh, this guy has been our party for years. He needs to be the next candidate. There's no meritocracy. All they do in Nigeria is all nepotism. where you choose your cousins and brothers to take over so that they can protect your badass and all your bad behaviors after you're gone. But there's hope. There's hope in Nigeria election. INEC should, the government should look at all those parties. It's all about all those vote buying and money going to the election. It's all about intimidation. We must look at a peaceful, adequate infrastructures that when you go and vote, no one can intimidate you. No one can harass you. There should be a security in place. You go there because it's an open voting. It's not a secret ballot system. You go there, you cross your vote and you dip it down. People know you are voting. But at the end of the day, they don't know who you vote for. But that process is very important. I was voting, I look at the plastic bag they are putting my vote. I said, how will I do all this rigorous process, staining my pictures, accreditations, and I'll drop my paper in one box. Anybody can just grab and run. That means we are all setting ourselves for failure. There's no security in our ballot system. Well, every party should be funded correctly. And I think the federal government, if it's 15 parties that are involved in the election, there should be a fair play for everyone. There should be an equal distributions and say, look, if this party are part of this election, they should be supported equally so that the people will have a choice. We can have the media. Sometimes when the election was going on, the ascending of these medias, they deny small parties. They don't even give them place to speak. I was trying to go on some stations. We don't have slots anymore. I said, where's the fair play here? Because the media is the one determining who are the big three, who are the big four. That you're already given privilege for manipulation. You're already given privilege to tell the citizen that don't waste your time. You are not going to win. You are not in the race. They are all talking about one party on the TV all the time. There should be an equality, equal opportunity, fairness for everyone. Because at the end of the day, we must allow the knowledgeable to lead our country. Thank you.
Let's quickly get to Pastor Zena. Pastor Zena, this is going to be probably your last take on the program as we are heading to Lagos to join our colleague who is already standing by for the next lap on the show. But quickly, Pastor Zena, what do you believe the post-election atmosphere in Ondo will look like? Taking a leave at what is happening in Edo State now, there seems to be a kind of disconnection, and according to you, some people are crying already. Their mandate has been stolen. They've gone to courts. What do you think the post-election period will look like for Ondo people?
It's still going to be the same. It's like more or less like a culture. We will ring the election, go to court, protest, but nobody will listen to you. So after Ondo election, I am still seeing what occurred in Edo State coming up also in Ondo election. I'm seeing the opposition party coming out to say our mandate was stolen, restore our mandate, let the wish of the people be seen in the ballot, and so on and so forth. It's not a culture. And that is why they don't take us serious. Because for somebody to say, if you are not comfortable with the victory, go to court or go and protest. It shows that it's not our culture. So that is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a situation where people will still go to the street and to cry out. I'm seeing a situation when police and soldiers, civil defense will be back to cover INEC state office for a couple of days. I'm seeing a situation when lawyers will be contacted to go to court. I'm seeing a situation where there will be a lot of debate in our social media and also in our television stations and radio concerning Ondo election. I'm not seeing anything different from what occurred in those states happened in Ondo state election. So, but my last take on this Ondo state election, or generally to Nigeria, is that we keep on doing it until we get it right. Like me as a person, I will not give up in an electoral process. I'll not give up on Nigeria. But I just believe that we are doing the wrong thing. But one day we will do the right thing, and the society will come out to elect the right person that will put an end to what we call post-protest or post-action or post-violence of election. Because when you do the right thing, you are able to solve riots, protests, wasting of money for court issue and all that. Like my brother said, that is challenging the process. If the right thing was done, he would have not been coming out to challenge the process. But there are many things that went wrong. They say plenty water that went under the bridge. So if you want to get post-election rights, just make sure you do the right thing during the election.
Okay. Thank you very much, Reverend or Pastor now, Pastor Azena. Let's quickly get to Dr. Enabulele. This is going to be your last take. Please help us. Let's manage the next 20 seconds. Is this going to be the end of the journey for you if you didn't get the desired result from the judiciary? What is going to be the next step, Dr. Enabulele?
Even though the election is over, the voice of the people continue. I'm a social advocate. I'm a political philosopher. I didn't come for power struggle. I came to Nigeria for us to do the right thing. It's not going to be over for me. I will continue to advocate for the people to make sure that we have a conducive environment so that the people will thrive. My only challenge here is when people fail, allow them to fail correctly. And when they win, allow them to win correctly. So that way tomorrow they can fix their mistakes.
Okay.
But when you take from one and rob it out to pay Paul, at the end of the day, we are looking for democracy. We are looking for true governance. Okay. For me, I'm here to fight for my people. Whatever the outcome of the judiciary, I believe in the rule of law. I went to court for one reason, because I still believe in the electoral system.
Okay.
I believe in Nigeria, and I know that everything's going to change.
All right.
I am not giving up. I will fight for a good Edo. I will fight for a better Edo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Enabulele Bright. We appreciate you for taking time to be on the show all the way from United States. And of course, Pastor Azena, who joins us virtually from Benin City, Edo State capital.